the Niger Delta Development Commission now come up with a sharing formulae. Because it's plural, there are two. One, they have the interstate sharing formula. And what are the details of the interstate sharing formula? The interstate sharing formula says that for the Niger Delta Development Commission to allocate resources to any state, 35% must be determined by the volume of oil and gas produced by that state. 25% is for regional integrated project. 15% is for administrative cost. 20% equality among states. Then 5% is for ecological, Then for smooth allocation of resources among states and communities, they also formulated what we call intrastate sharing formula. That is within state. The intrastate sharing formula says that for you to allocate resources to any local government, to any community, 60% must be determined by oil and gas produced by that local government, by that community. 20% equality among local government. 10% well-led and pipeline. Then 10% exploration zone, whether you are producing or not. Lisman, if you now look at this sharing formula and it is subsistent, it is applied, or if 50% was really complied with, you can see that a major oil producing communities for 25 years of the NDD's existence would have been upgraded to semi-urban stages with the 13 sectors fully established. Now,
and it's not just the NDDC, you also have the PIA, you have a 13%.
Yes.
Truly, the oil producing communities ought to be like the Dubai, truly.
It's all right.
Africa, adding all of the monies from 13% from PIA and the NDDC.
Lisman, yes, you are right. But there are differences. Let me tell you the slight differences. Now, the difference between the Niger Delta Development Corporation and the PIA is that in the PIA, all operating companies remit 3% of the operational cost to clusters of communities, and the communities dictate the kind of project they want to use them for. That one is for just small pockets in a project, community social responsibility project. As for the NDDC is the one that is directly mandated to develop the oil producing communities. The one of 13% derivation, too, as we all know, the derivation is the federal government is giving you 13% out of what they are getting from your state, which is also oil and gas. But because because their act is ambiguous, there's no clear sharing formula. There's no way you will silence them. If a governor sits and he decides to allocate project to anywhere, he can do it on his discretion. So my concern here is about 9 communities in a Keremo local government area in Bayelsa State who have contributed so much to the Niger Delta, to the stream of the Niger Delta Development Commission, that have been marginalized and subjected to the obscured darkness.
What are the names of the community?
The communities are Amatu 1, Amatu 2, Blabri 1, Blabri 1, Blabri 2, Besangbene, Lotubene community, Obotobo community, Egbemangalabri community, and of course Pretorobene community. Then I will also tell you what these communities represent to the Niger Delta Development Commission. Lisman, Pretorobene community is a host to the Akono oil field. Pretorobene community is a host to the Pomio oil field. Pretorobene community also hosts one of the largest manifold in West Africa. That is the Brass Creek manifold. Lisman, Egbemangalabri and Agbidama communities are also two neighboring communities in the Keremo local government area of Bayelsa State. These communities are the host to 5 oil fields and 3 flow stations. The Opukusi flow station, Opukusi oil for Opukusi flow station, Opukusi North, Tunu flow station, Clump Creek flow station. They also host the Cambo oil field with Abambolo Federated. And I will tell you for free that in some years, these communities produce more than 2 states together. Precisely in 2004, whatever figure I'm quoting here, listen to me, Lisman. I am quoting figures from NNPC. I'm quoting figures from Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission. Right. According to NNPC, this oil field will produce 33 million barrels of crude in 2004. In 2004.
Which field?
Opokusi oil field, Tunu oil field, Opokusi North, Kambu oil field, and Club Creek.
Produced
33 million barrels of crude, more than what Edo State and Abia State produced. If you want to tell me what both Edo State and Abia State produced, I will also tell you. They produce an average of 10 million barrels of crude, and annually. Now, Egbe Mangalabri and Abidama only produce 33 million barrels of crude. Yet, they've not had nothing from the Niger Delta Development Commission. Nothing. Yes. All what I will tell you that maybe they must have had Egbe Mangalabri. I'll count them for you. Before the Ombuku era, what they had was 10 pieces of power solar street light and 2 dysfunctional transformer in Egbe Mangalabri. In Abidama, it was one abandoned, dysfunctional power solar in the water and 6 classroom block abandoned. That is all what they have. So miserable. And this man, the other community is Ogbotobo community. Ogbotobo community is the host to Ogbotobo oil field. Ogbotobo community is the host to the Abaya oil field. This community produces an average of 6 to 9 million barrels of crude annually, according to NNPC. Then, let me go to the saddest part of the story. Now, the salt line communities of Amatu 1, Amatu 2, Blabri 1, Blabri 2, Besangbene, Lotubene, they are the neighboring community, they are the host community to the EA oil field. Lisbon, the EA oil field only, in 2004, produced 37 million barrels of crude. The EA oil field in 2011 it was at its peak, produced 47 million barrels of crude. According to NNPC, I'm quoting NNPC. If my figures are wrong, anybody can sue me. Then, these communities, by the NDDC Act, they are the neighboring communities to the most prolific giants in oil fields in Nigeria that are situated in the exclusive economic zone in the territorial waters of Bayelsa State. That is the Bunker oil field that is operated by by SNEPCO, and the Agbami oil field that is operated by SADC. Lisman, this oil field, since they became operational in 2005, this oil field have never produced less than 40 million barrels of crude annually. You see, in 2015, the Bunker oil field, the Agbami oil field only, produced 85 million barrels of crude. 85 billion barrels of crude. And the Bunker oil field produced 70 million barrels of crude. And what was the total oil production of that year in 2011 in national? It's 667 million barrels of crude. Look at the percentage. Over 20% were produced by these oil fields. And in 2004, when the Kremon local government area produced these oil fields, in the Kremon local government area produced 97 million barrels of crude. The total oil production in Nigeria was 893 million barrels of crude. 897 million barrels of crude. So, we contribute up to 10% of the total national production. What was the total oil production of Bayelsa State? It's 186 million barrels of crude. In 2004, we contribute 57% of the total oil production in Bayelsa State by the NDDC Act. Well, there is difference between the NDDC Act, 13% derivation, and the PIA. And let me tell you how this production was also converted to cash to the NDDC. According to NAITI, what is NAITI? NAITI is Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative. It's an act of parliament. Their statutory responsibility is to look into the activities of the extractive industries in this country and also federal government and the parastatals. NAITI look into the activities of the Niger Delta Development Commission between 2007 to 2011. And NAITI reported that SNEPCO the operators of the Agbami oil field contributed 6 billion naira to the Niger Delta Development Commission. Imagine 6 billion naira to the Niger Delta Development Commission. Then,
what year was that?
That was 2008.
2008. Okay.
SNEPCO contributed 6 million barrels of crude. Then, in 2009, after 2009, also Stadi contribute 4-point-something billion naira. That is operators of the Agbami oil field. These are the neighboring communities to Amatu, Blabri 1 and 2. This is the saddest part of the story. This is marginalization taken too far. This kind of man brutality to man is unbearable. You see, is up till today. I mean, in 2009, Stadip contributed 4-point-something billion naira to the Niger Delta Development Commission. Then, in 2011, SNEPCO now contribute 5 billion naira to the Niger Delta Development Commission. Listen, let's look at just this period. Within that period, the exchange rate to the dollar that time was between 118 naira to 130 naira at least. And always Shell Petroleum Development Company, which is the major operators of our oil field, has always been the highest contributor to the revenue stream of the Niger Delta Development Commission. And according to NAITI, that for all the money that have been committed in NDDC, 67%, over 67%, is being contributed by money from companies, not the one from federal government. That is the one they are owing. They are owing also mostly is from federal government. Our companies, in most cases, have been consistent complying, while we suffer the environmental degradation. The money goes to the NDDC and some other places. Lisman, let me be specific with just few years to still emphasize on the level of marginalization of our communities and compare it to some neighboring communities and local governments that you will see. In 2004, like what I said, how did they prepare their budget? They prepared their budget according to the revenue of the preceding year. Okay. That is by oil production, or by the ones that will also come from the federal. Now, in 2004, a credible local government area produced 97 million barrels of crude. 97 million barrels of crude. Then in 2005, the budget that will reflect this, Amos was committed to a credible local government area. Lisman, 205 million naira. 205 billion naira was the one that was committed to communities in credible local government
by
area.
The NDDC.
By the NDDC. Amos was committed to Sabama local government area. I mean, to Kolokumo local government area. Lisman, 3.9 billion naira. These ones are in the Appropriation Act because it contained the amount allocated, the amount committed. Is there. Lisman, in the same year, 5.1 billion naira was committed to communities in Sabama local government area. That is 2005. Have you seen this kind of marginalization before? Okay, let us assume that if 5 years is not good enough for us to assess it, let's take it a decade after its creation.
2010.
2012, a decade at 2012.
Okay.
So let us now take the revenue, the oil production of a credible local government oil field in 2011. I mean in 2011. In 2011, yes, in 2011, communities in a credible local government area produced, because then the bunker oil and all of them have become operational, produced over 120 billion barrels of crude. But Amos was committed to communities in a credible local government area. Lisman, in 2012, 1.3 billion naira. Out of this 1.3 billion naira, none of them, even within the credible local government area, look at how we are marginalized. None of them was committed, no 10 kobo was committed to any of these major oil producing communities. Now, in the same year, 2012, Lisman, 16 billion naira was committed to communities in Kolokumo local government area. 16 billion naira. Lisman, in the same 2012, in Sabama local government area, 10.9 billion naira was committed to communities in Sabama local government area. What did we do to justify this injustice? And let me tell you, before Dr. Umbuku, when Dr. Umbuku came in, this position was severally confirmed by Dr. Umbuku when he became the MD of the Niger Delta Development Commission. In different forums, he has told those who care to listen. He said before, because when you go there, you must be privy to the books. He said before I became the MD of Niger Delta Development Commission, the commission had been transactional. We know what transactional is all about. But the little area I am concerned about Ombuku, and Ombuku also said, if any community feel sustained, marginalized, please don't take the law into your hands. Approach to me. When you approach to me, I will make sure this thing is resolved without resorting to any kind of crisis, because we've suffered enough brutality in the name of crisis in Niger Delta. But when eventually our communities right, and there was no response, and because there's no alternative to peace as far as I'm concerned, as a student of history, no matter how bad the situation is, there's no alternative to peace. So while the women and the youths in our communities, we are advocating, we are hesitating to take over effective occupations of the platforms in the facilities in their area. We the elders, we feel that no, what we do, no matter how bad the judiciary is, let's take this one as an excuse to go and file in a suit, so that our boys, we can relax our boys and our women.
So now you are in court with NDDC?
Yeah, we are also in court with them.
Okay, so what do you want now? We're pressed for time. I'm looking at the time.
Okay.
Already 9:50.
Just so what we actually want is, with the sharing formula, with the sharing formula, what we want, at least in going forward, what we want is, for the fact that we have been marginalized for all these years, within a very short period, they should ensure that all the 13 sectors clearly mentioned in the act with our level of contribution should be established in all.
Mention the 13th sector for anybody who wants to know.
The 13 sectors: 1, transportation, road, access road to all our communities, primary and secondary health facilities to our communities, quality education. Sorry, this one, I missed something very important. Let me mention it here. Let me go to, in the case of also employment, according to the Niger Delta Development NDDC budget of 2005, that the recurrent expenditure of NDDC in 2005 is 1.5 billion naira. And the amount consistently increased to 2022, where the the recurrent increased to 40 billion naira. Today, it's about 50 billion naira. Both the personnel cost and the personnel and the overhead, the recurrent expenditure. My lord, it will surprise you to know that the man in Amatu 1 is not employed in NDDC. The man in Amatu 1 is not deployed in NDDC. The man in Obotuba is not there. The man in Blabri is not there. The man in Obotuba is not there. This is injustice, taken too far. So we are saying that our people should be employed. Our people should, the way they are giving scholarship to people of Kuluku, the way we are marginalized in terms of infrastructure, it's the same way we are marginalized in terms of employment and scholarship. These things, we need 100 though.
And the name of your community is the communities in question?
The communities in question: 1, Amatu 1 community, Amatu 2 community, Blabri community, Obotobo community, Egbemangalabri community, Lotubene community, and Lotubene community in the Kremon local government area of Bayelsa State.
All these communities, you've written letters.
You've
spoken to your representative in the assembly.
We've, in fact, not only to represent it, we've written letter before this time. We've written, in fact, Lisman, if you can go to AIT, if you can go to 6th of August 2020, I granted an interview to Vanguard. Comrade Efegi granted an interview to Vanguard. And most of these issues I'm saying here is dates back then when they were about to carry out the forensic audit. Okay. I said the forensic audit would not address the issue of underdevelopment in the major oil producing communities. It would maybe probably unveil the malice of corruption there. I state all that. All right. So this is not the issue of today.
I understand your pain. Well, if you joined midway, then you missed quite a great deal of history and a conversation about the neglect in the Niger Delta. Comrade Efegi is from Ikirimo. And he's saying that according to the provisions of the Act and the sharing formula, the people of his area have been deprived, and he is seeking a remediation, as it were. They're in court already, but he says that going forward, the right thing should be done. The communities he has mentioned in a Keremo local government area deserve to also benefit from the largesse that comes to the NDDC and also to the government. But do you also get something from the host community fund?
That one is for community social. Yes,
and it has been utilized properly in your area?
Yeah, yes, that one is for social. That is a different. That one is for community social responsibility projects now. In summary,
and what you want.
In summary, we are appealing to President Ahmed Bola Tinubu to please prevail on the Niger Delta Development Commission. We are appealing to people like A.K. Tompolo, the most revered, one of the most revered leader in the Niger Delta. We are appealing to, in fact, every meaningful people in the Niger Delta to make sure, to advise the Niger Delta to make sure the Niger Delta development sharing formulas to be implemented, and particularly those are communities. We have been so marginalized, and when people are so marginalized to some level, it leads to a lot of things. Those of us who are the elders from these communities, we have been taming our youth and our women. But see, when there's nothing, when we cannot control them anymore, there's nothing we can do about it. Therefore, they must come in urgently to address this situation so that we continue to. And secondly, very important, as we stand today, the federal government is investing so much in the upstream sector. They are investing so much in the upstream sector that for in recent years they have not been invested. Now over 20 rigs, over 50 rigs are working in this country. So which probably means that in the next few years, oil production will increase to maybe 2 million to over 2 million barrels of crude. More money to the Niger Delta Development Commission, more money to PIE, more money to the federal government. So the peace must be sustained. So let them do the right thing.